Hi, we're Steve and Judy Lytle, missionaries to Panama. We have been here off and on since the late 70s. We came first in 1977 and stayed until about 2000, and then after 10 years back in the States, we came back here again in 2009.
So you guys have been missionaries for quite a while then.
We have been with International Missions since 1975, so that's what, 37 years?
Yes, and
Quite a while.
you had a stint where you worked with the office there in Nashville.
We did. In 2000 or 99, we came home for what we thought would be a year stateside assignment, and instead ended up at Brother James Forline's request working with him. I was the director of field operations for 8 years, and Judy worked in the office as well. Why don't you tell them about that?
I work part-time most of the time there with candidates as candidate coordinator and helping with the youth ministries programs such as the college missions and E-team.
Okay, so you've really been able to see everything, the whole perspective of it, it sounds to me like.
Yes.
Why don't we get you to talk a little bit about how folks that feel God is calling them into missions, how they might prepare, because you've had that experience as being missionaries and also working stateside, helping people prepare as they're going into missions.
That's a good question, and I think Judy can address it well since she worked with a lot of young people who were seeking for God's will and were trying to come to the determination that it was going to be in missions. I would just say, I do think you need to have a call. I do. Some people say, well, you don't need a call when you have a command. And that's true. We are commanded to take the gospel to the ends of the earth, and every believer is to be involved in that. I believe that firmly. I believe every Christian needs to be involved in missions because that's ultimately the Great Commission. But even though that's true, if you're going to be doing cross-cultural ministry where you learn a new language and live in another culture, I think that necessitates something of a call from God, a sense of God's direction to do that. Because any believer can be involved in missions. You can find ways to plug in and go overseas and pray and give and do things to help reach unreached people with the gospel, even if you never go as a missionary. But if you're going to go, you need to sense that's what God really wants you to do.
Now, to be a little more specific, okay, you really feel that you have a call to go into missions, but you don't know where to go, what to do. My recommendation would be to contact, if you want to go with Free Will Baptist, to contact the missions office. Right now that person would be Jeff Turnbow, and ask him about the process. You can also check out some information on the Free Will Baptist Mission website, International Missions website. And as far as preparation, you're going to have Free Will Baptist International Missions is a church planting mission. You're going to have education not only in Bible but in missions. Those are requirements. So start preparing in a Bible college, whether it be Free Will Baptist Bible College, Welch College, or other colleges. But the requirements are listed, and he can help on that. Another practical thing that I would tell candidates is watch your debt situation, because so many of our candidates would get to the point that they're graduating, getting ready to go, and they have got so much debt it's going to take them years to pay that off before they'll ever be able to go. They're losing time in language learning and all of that. Those are just two practical. And get involved in ministry wherever they are. I mean, if they think they're called into missions, get started right there in Tennessee or in Michigan, wherever they live. Get involved in some sort of outreach program of their local church or their college or whatever.
The language, they would end up eventually going to language school.
Definitely.
Yes, they would.
Unless they're going to an English-speaking country, which is probably not likely.
And our mission doesn't work in English-speaking only countries, so yes, it would involve language.
Got to learn the language.
And I wonder, like students who've taken Spanish in high school and school, how well that helps when they're preparing, before they would go to language school and so forth.
A little.
It helps a little. It's never enough because virtually no one ever really immerses himself in another language and learns it fluently unless you're actually enabled to go overseas and spend time. If you came here and spent 6 months, you would learn more Spanish than you would learn in 2 or 3 years of taking classes in high school or college. But nevertheless, it's still a help. Any exposure is better than none, and I think any exposure to any foreign language at least is a little bit of an aid toward your actual on-the-field language learning experience. I had Latin in high school. I took Greek in Bible college, and I won't say that either of those necessarily enable me to flourish in Spanish, but at least the idea of a foreign language wasn't totally foreign to me.
Right.
You might say.
Right. That's good.